EyeonFGC. I feel like what people are looking for whenever this topic comes up is some sort of burst, some big wave of excitement that's going to come about whenever a new title gets released. I think in this new age where people sort of look to a website like Twitch as an indicator of what's popular at any given moment, there is a sense that there could be a game that comes along and generates so much excitement that it rockets, the genre all the way up to people's attention, because that's frankly just the pattern that they're used to seeing, right? League of Legends comes out, new genre, super interesting. MOBAs take over for a good while. Fortnite sort of refines this battle royale genre that had been cooking for a little while. Totally new genre for people. Tons of excitement. Big boost of viewership. Dota Auto Chess comes out, new genre, team fight tactics refines it, new auto battler thing, huge wave of excitement and attention, right? This is just the pattern that people have gotten used to. So they're sort of looking for, like, what is this game that's going to come out that's going to bring our community out to the forefront?
There isn't one.
And I think what's important to note about each of these is that
you might have a point.
They're very new and very fresh to that big audience of people. I say that they're new genres, but really the games that were catalysts for this sort of thing were not on the ground floor inventing these genres. League of Legends didn't invent MOBAs. Dota didn't even invent MOBAs.
Oh, wait.
Mod for...
He might be right. You know the game that's going to do it? 2XKO. 2XKO is going to do it. 2XKO is going to refine the genre and catapult fighting games into the stratosphere. That's what's going to happen. That's the pattern.
Called like Aeon of the Storms or something like that. Dota iterated upon some of those ideas, and then League of Legends refined some of those ideas even further. Again, teamfight tactics did not invent this auto battling genre. Dota Auto Chess was on the ground floor of that. Fortnite did not invent battle royales. PUBG didn't even invent battle royales. Battle royale was a mode that was like an Arma 2 mod, I believe, or maybe it was Arma 3. I don't know. One of the fucking Armas. It was a mod for Arma, right? And so if there was going to
fighting games being
got a ton of people's attention.
Fighting games being solo is a major downfall for its popularity. Riot's game being multiplayer helps a lot. Yes, because when you put two players on a team, I think that's gonna go hard. But like, I think the reason why it's a downfall is not even because like I don't know, because people want to play with teammates, right? Because think about it, in all the team games, everybody hates their teammates. Every game, it doesn't matter what it is. Every game, people are like, "Oh, this new team game is coming out. This team shooter is coming out. Great, it's gonna look so fun to play." And then next thing you know, oh, my teammates are so ass. I can't stand my teammates. Why do I always get the worst teammates? Right? You think that's not gonna happen in 2XKO? People are gonna queue up to play doubles just so they can blame the other person for them losing. That's what's going to happen. But that's what's going to catapult the fighting game genre into the stratosphere, though.
Attention. Basically, it would be such an iteration upon what fighting games already are that it would no longer appeal, I don't think, to the people that currently like fighting games as they exist right now. There have been a number of efforts from
No, it's not everybody, though.
To try to...
It's not everybody. It's not going to not appeal to fighting game players. It will definitely appeal to fighting game players. Fighting game players like anything that has to do with fighting games, period. If you're a fighting game player, not just like a Street Fighter player, not just like a Marvel player, because I have some friends that are just Marvel players, just Street Fighter players. They don't really play anything else. Not to say that like there's a problem with that. They're really good at the games that they play. Like a friend of mine, he plays Marvel mostly, and he doesn't want to really play anything else. He plays Street Fighter, but he doesn't really care about it that much. At least not this one anyway. He liked 5, I think, and maybe 4. But like when it comes to other fighting games, like he played other fighting games in the past, but he really doesn't like a bunch of other fighting games. But fighting game players in general, when a new fighting game comes out, it's like, yo, I want to play that. Or that looks dope. I want to play it. Like there's so many fighting games that I want to play. Like I haven't played Grand Blue Fantasy Rising in a minute. I haven't played. I know I'm gonna want to play 2XKO. I'm playing Tekken 8 a ton. I haven't been playing Tekken. I mean, Street Fighter 6. Even though Ed, I want to play Ed. Like MK1 came out. I played MK1, but it's just other games. Like I just can't keep up with them all. And then but anything like people were playing. What was that game? That battle royale that was like a wrestling battle royale. It didn't have guns. You literally just swanton bomb and suplex people off of the top of buildings and stuff like that. That like cartoony looking game. Fighting game players were loving that game, and it wasn't necessarily a fighting game. They tried something different, and it was like a fighting game, but it was a battle royale fighting game. So that's why, you know, a lot of fighting game players were really having fun with playing that game. So I don't think that's the truth. I think that people will gravitate toward it. If it's fun to play, people will gravitate toward it.
Or refine systems within fighting games to try to get them to appeal to a wider market. And usually the end result is either that the wider market is a little bit more accepting. I'm not going to say it doesn't help out at all, but usually the existing fan base is either middling on the changes or actively dislikes them, right? And I think even, historically, there have been instances where there were big shifts in fighting game design to attract a wider market.
Um, I don't think that I don't think that they will have a problem with the changes to the genre, because it's not going to completely change the genre altogether. I think people have a problem with changing existing games to try to be the new thing instead of the existing games continuing to be what they are, right? So like they want the existing games to continue to be what they are because they enjoy what the existing games are. But they also want some new stuff, and if somebody makes something new that's interesting and fun to play, they'll play that too. But then they don't want Street Fighter and Tekken and Mortal Kombat to turn around and be like, "Oh, our next game is going to be all the new thing." And not like a traditional Street Fighter or a traditional like Tekken or whatever. Because even though Tekken has a lot of mechanics in Tekken 8, Tekken is still Tekken. It's still Tekken. It still feels like Tekken. But like, imagine if like the next Tekken, like Tekken 9, was a battle royale. Like, like that was the multi. There was no 3D fighting like this. There was none of this. It was literally you're running around, and that was Tekken 9. Like, no, nobody would. People were like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, like if you want to add that as a bonus mode, sure, go ahead, great, but don't change it to be that thing because you're trying to like cash grab. Like, oh well, everybody's loving that. It's like, no, continue to make what you know how to make. Let new people make newer stuff and new, more interesting things to play that are in the genre. You know what I mean?
The big one that comes to mind is Smash Brothers, right? And even with Smash Brothers,
nobody can top Smash.
So different, it appeals to
no one.
such a different demographic that we sort of, subjugate it over to its own platform fighter subgenre that many people within the fighting game community don't even consider to be a fighting game. They like.
I can't stand that. I can't stand it because they're like, it's not a fighting game. It's not a fighting game. It's a party game. It's not a fighting game. And I'm like, what's the problem with it being both? Like, that's like saying that Mario Kart is not a racing game. It's a party game. It's like, it's both. It's a party game and a racing game. It's competitive. It's still competitive. Like, if you got to turn the items off, so be it. If that's what the rules, that's what the rules are. Like, nobody goes, oh well, why do we have to change the rules of Street Fighter or change the rules of Tekken and not just let anybody pick whatever stage they want, and why does it have to be a rule to pick the random stage? It's like, why can't I just pick whatever stage I want? Because that's the rules of the game. When you make the rules of the game and people follow the rules of the game for a competitive tournament, then that's what it is. If all items off and it is what competitive is for the tournament, and that's just what it is. Like, you can customize what items are on or what items are off. If you turn them all off, that's just how you like to play. If you only like to play with Pokeballs, then that's just how you like to play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make it not a fighting game. The characters are definitely fighting. It's a platform fighter. Just like That doesn't mean that it's not a subgenre of a fighting game. It's just a different type of fighting game. You have platform fighters, you have 3D fighters, you have anime fighters, you have 2D fighters. Like you have arena fighters. Like you have all these multiple ways of having a fighting game. And just because it's not a traditional 2D or 3D fighting game doesn't make it not a fighting game. It's like I don't understand the gatekeeping that people do where it's like, no, Smash Brothers is not a fighting game, or Naruto is not a fighting game. Like, no, it's not a real fighting game. It's like, what does real fighting game mean? They're all video games. Like they're all competitive. They're head to head, like, so we're gonna say that like what 2XKO is not a fighting game because it's 2v2. Cross Tekken had 2v2. Like people accepted that. The only problem with Cross Tekken is that it was jab X timeout. That's what that was. It was just like jab 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 timeout timeout timeout. Like, they could have fixed the timeouts very very easily, but they just didn't. I don't understand why they can't make very small changes to things to fix very small issues. And this was before esports and stuff like that, where it was just like, oh, people are complaining that they're timing out too much. Why don't we just make it so that every count on the clock is 2 seconds instead of 1 second? Because that's how it was for Marvel 3. Every count on the clock was 3 seconds, and to me that seemed like it made sense, where it was like, oh, for every character that's on your team, that's how many seconds each count is. So in Cross Tekken, each count should be 2 seconds. In Street Fighter, each count is 1 second. In Marvel, each count is 3 seconds. Like that's, and then you didn't get timeouts like that. I mean, still could time somebody out if that's what you were trying to do, but it didn't, like, that wasn't the main. That wasn't just happening because it wasn't enough time.
Joke and jab
Yo, what's
as
good,
if it's
Toasty?
a party game or whatever. Obviously, it's a fighting game. That's not even debatable in my mind.
Thank you.
But I don't think it gets the same respect, and I don't think it has the same appeal to the same market that more traditional fighting games do.
I think that people don't give Smash Brothers respect for the same reason they don't give Fortnite respect. When both games are godlike games, both games get insane amounts of have an insane amount of players like playing it, right? I mean, not I'm sure Fortnite beats out Smash by a long shot. I'm pretty sure, but it's people that play traditional fighting games that try to play Smash and get their ass kicked because they can't play the they can't do all the execution heavy stuff that you need to be able to do in Smash Brothers to be good at it. When you still have execution stuff in the traditional fighting games, but in my opinion, the execution that you need to be very very good with certain characters, or be able, some of the stuff you need to be able to do consistently in Smash Brothers, is very difficult. It's very difficult. I feel like it's more difficult than a lot of other stuff that you have to be able to do in 2D fighters, in 3D fighters. Fighting games are dope because your skill fundamentals carry over. Exactly. I mean, that's the case for any genre, I think, though. Like even shooters. Like if you're a really really good shooting game, like a shooter like player, like you really good at Call of Duty, you're really good at like other like team based shooters or whatever. That stuff's gonna carry over too to other shooters. Um, your aim's gonna carry over. Your game sense is gonna carry over for the most part. For some stuff, for like some generic situations. Um, and like the way you play the game is just gonna be, you're gonna fall into shooters easier if you already know stuff. Like just like you fall into different fighting games easier when you already know how to play fighting games. People think it's a kids game. Yeah, they use the excuse that it's a kids game because when they really just suck at it. Like usually people who don't like Fortnite usually just suck at it. Like there's like Fortnite is such a good game though. Like it's such a good game, and it deserves respect, but some people won't give it respect, and they're just like, oh no, they're just Because like, what was the excuse? The excuse was that, oh, I don't play that game because when I shoot at somebody, they build the Eiffel Tower to protect themselves. It's like, oh, okay, and so what? Build yourself an Eiffel Tower to protect yourself while they're building an Eiffel Tower. Why don't you build up the same tower with them to chase them down? Why? Oh, you can't. You can't do it. You just can't do it. It's fine. Just say you can't do it. It's not that you tried to shoot them and they defended themselves or they built a giant tower. It's that you can't build a giant tower to fight them back. The same way in Smash, it's like, oh, well, Smash is not a fighting game. It's like, well, you would say it's not a fighting game because you probably suck at it because you can't handle the way you have to play neutral and the basically and the chasing people off the edge of the board and fighting off the edge of the side of the level and stuff like that, and understanding that whole thing, because normally you're used to just being in a box and you just got to fight this person in this box until the health bar goes down. And then in Smash Brothers, you got to literally knock them off. You got to forcefully knock them off and take away all their stocks before they take away yours. So, and it's strategy to like how you go about doing that and everything. So it's like they just don't know how to do that. That's fine. Just say you don't know how to do it. Just say you're not that good at it. You can say you're not good at it and still respect the game and respect people's skill and respect like the people that play the game. And it still be a fighting game. Like, I don't understand why it can't be. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Fortnite is godlike. I couldn't adapt, but I still gave the game its props. I did. Like, I couldn't adapt either. I played a lot of Fortnite before they had no build. I played a lot of Fortnite. I think starting at like season 4. I think season 4 I started playing, and then like up to like I played on and off up to season like 10 or whatever. And then like I could never build like some of these other people build, and I would get murked, but I will always try to figure out ways to be able to like win. I didn't hide a whole lot. I did in the beginning, but like later on, I didn't hide a whole lot. Like I felt more comfortable like running out and like trying to find people, shooting at people. But then when no build came out, a lot of people came back to the game because it was like, okay, now I can play no build, and it's still a skillful format. Like it's not like it's like it's not gonna be a walk in the park. Like it's not gonna be a walk in the park, but it's not. I don't have to deal with building. I said I wanted to try building again because I had the Azeron and it would be easier for me to build stuff. But I just didn't like my button layout for building, so that's why I just never was good at it. Like never was good at it.
Right. I think if you're looking for this big surge and wave of new participation and cultural relevance, I think honestly we've already had that. Like I'm a little bit too young. I wasn't really there on the ground floor for any of this. I'm an 09er as they say.
Did.
But back in the days when Street Fighter 2 was popping off and when Mortal Kombat was starting to come out, those things were like really big cultural
Fortnite set up the
moments.
bridge
Those
for
started
every game to have
conversations not
crossplay.
just
Yep.
within the video game industry or within video game
I'm so
players,
glad
but
they did that.
all across society, especially in Mortal Kombat. But Street Fighter 2, I think at that time the idea of being competitive within a video game was still relatively new to people. And I think adding that along with the fact that you had to like go to an arcade and you had to invest a little bit of money to even be able to practice, that it was a very social experience. You were interacting with other people face to face. That sense of identity that you had, both with like the arcade and the local scene that you belong to, but also the sense of identity with like I'm a Fei Long player or I'm a Blanca player or whatever. That was like pretty new to people. And I think that was a massive cultural moment that unfortunately I wasn't a part of. I didn't get to experience, but now we're sort of living in the aftermath of all of that. And I think that when we're looking at it through that lens, we can try to compare ourselves to the other genres that have sort of come and gone. And I think that we have a lot to be proud of. Like I think of when Twitch first was coming out, the most popular game on the platform at that time was StarCraft 2. StarCraft was massive overseas in like Korea and some other Asian regions. And it was just an incredibly competitive and very popular game. And when StarCraft 2 came out, it sort of gave it an international presence and had a lot of like national pride.
Dog, I played StarCraft 2. I wasn't good at it. Me and my friends played it. And then like more recently, like I played it a long time ago. Like I played StarCraft 2 on my friend's Nintendo 64. StarCraft 2 Or no, that was StarCraft 1, my bad, not StarCraft 2. StarCraft 1 was on Nintendo 64. Imagine playing StarCraft with a controller, a Nintendo 64 controller. And then, at later on, like StarCraft 2 came out, we got StarCraft 2. We played on a computer, of course, like after that, but I was never really good at it. And then, we didn't really know like meta stuff or whatever until like later on after the FGC, another one of my friends decided that he wanted to start playing StarCraft. And I was like, all right, fine, I guess I'll play StarCraft again. But I had like PTSD from playing against my friend who was just better than me. Like he was just better at building faster and building up stuff faster than me. And he would just build tons and tons and tons of stuff. And then I would always have to try to counter and build tons and tons and tons of some other unit and then try to like counter him. And it was like we played the most like casual, hardcore StarCraft. Like I would just build a bunch of void rays because I played Protoss, right? I build a bunch of void rays, send a shit ton of void rays over to his like base and try to like just zap everything clean as fast as possible before he could do anything. And then half the time he would send something over there and like destroy my like work line or whatever, destroy all my workers and just piss me off. And I'm just like, then my other friend George, he played Terran, and like when he wanted to start getting into StarCraft, he just built shit tons of Marines, and the Marines pissed me off because the Marines could shoot in the sky and they could shoot on the ground too. So you try to counter them with like airplanes, and he has like medics and infantrymen, and they're like shooting my planes out of the sky, and they're getting stems, and they're just blowing stuff up. I'm just like, dog, that's not fair. Your first unit can shoot stuff out of the sky. Nobody else's first unit can shoot stuff out of the sky. Like Protoss had dudes that had melee attacks, and then like the Zerg, they had the dudes with melee attacks, but they would have like double the amount of units. But like Terran, first unit shooting stuff out of the sky. Like, come on, bro. I don't know Gex the Gecko on N64. I know about Gex. Gex was on PlayStation also, right? Smash definitely a fighting game. I think people have an issue with including them in the FGC because the communities were different, but I'm not sure if that's still the case. No, no. The communities aren't really that different. Like the communities aren't really that different. Even though they are still like some people that play Smash play a lot of fighting games. Some people that play fighting games play some Smash sometimes. Like I play Smash sometimes. Like I like playing with my friend. I said when he was like trying to like get good and stuff like that, I would play with him. He would come over the house and we would play Smash like a ton. Like he played command grab character. He plays Bowser. He plays Incineroar, and he played Mewtwo. He kind of inspired me to play Mewtwo after a while because I really liked the way Mewtwo kind of plays. So I was playing Mewtwo, but I played a lot of different characters. Not that I was like super good, but like I played a lot of different characters to dabble in different characters and find like what characters I really liked. But I like playing Mewtwo. I like playing Byleth. I like playing I played Sephiroth for a little bit. I played who else did I play? Um uh Pyramithra. I wanted Pyramithra to be my main, but Pyramithra is like kind of like they say she's just like all over the place all the time. She's just really annoying. I was like, I wish I was annoying with that character. But I don't like playing online in Smash because the netcode is fucking trash. I don't know how my friend plays that game online, but I used to let him basically use my account to play Smash online, and he would only play with Incineroar and Bowser, and he would get into like Elite Smash all the time. He's like almost maxed out his points or whatever, and every time the points go up, he keeps playing. But like I don't know how you play this game online. Another one of my friends that I used to work with, he plays a lot of Smash online. He plays Rosalina, and dog, I was like, I don't know how y'all do this. I was like, I can't do this. I will play offline for hours, but playing online, I was like, I can't do that. Okay, it's a completely different game when you play it online. It just does it. You can't react to things. You have to make reads all the time, all the time. Like you can't react to something that somebody did and then like do something about it. You gotta literally make a read that he might do this and he might jump here and he might go this way. Like you have to do that all the time online. It's annoying.
in
I
competitions
don't like
and
it.
whatnot, and people were able to like see it firsthand
Falco
and
main,
live, often for like the first time. It was able to
Captain
see
Falcon main.
people training on their own independently and streaming their own like
Fusion
ladder
Frenzy. I have Fusion
for the
Frenzy for
first time.
Xbox.
That was, a really big cultural moment. Where are strategy games today? I don't know. I mean, arguably, we haven't seen.
We just don't have enough time to play all the different games that are
since
out.
StarCraft 2 came out.
There's too many games
There are a couple
that
of people
require a lot of
working on that
time.
right now, trying to develop new games like Stormgate and whatnot. And there has also been scenes, for Age of Empires.
I'm gonna play the Marvel game.
Age of Empires games.
So whenever the Marvel game comes out, I'm gonna stream that.
The strategy game community. But I think it would be fair to say that it is middling, and that a lot of those players
That
were
Marvel
interested
Rivals
in that
game.
type of isometric strategy game have moved on to MOBAs, which kind of replicate that, but in more of a team environment, right? When it comes to MOBAs,
I don't think it's gonna last though.
Still incredibly culturally relevant and still very, very popular. But if I'm looking at trends, I do feel like they're kind of on the down curve or on their way out. I feel like there are less and less people that are interested in picking up and learning games like League of Legends or Dota 2 every single day.
My cousin, Lad Monster with Luigi, pros be
I sense the
reposting his
possibility
combos on
for
Twitter.
new titles
Nice.
to sort of emerge and take people's attention. I do think we'll start to see things like Smite 2 replacing Smite and modernizing the existing.
Yeah, I was hungry and sleepy like 20 minutes
But
ago.
I don't think there's gonna suddenly
Before I
be
started
a new
eating.
MOBA that comes out and really shakes up people and gets them excited for the genre again. I think people like what they already like, and it's gonna be very difficult to convince them to relearn an entirely new MOBA with an entirely new set of characters again. I think people are kind of where they're going to be. And when I look at the FGC in comparison, I think it's really worth noting and talking about that it has pretty steadily and consistently grown ever since, I guess, like almost ever, right? Like, sure, maybe it doesn't have the cultural relevance that it did back when Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat and all of that stuff was still new and fresh to people. But I think it's undeniable that, like, the tournament presence, the number of people that are showing up, the amount of money that is invested, the amount of eyes and attention that are on the genre, regularly, not just in this moment, like in the conversation, but like literally tuning in to watch tournaments and talk about, the performance of players and whatnot. I think that's all higher than it's ever been. And I think
It's definitely higher than it's ever been. Evo gets bigger every year. Evo survived COVID, right? And was even bigger afterwards. It keeps getting bigger. It's the biggest it's ever been. And this year is going to be even bigger. I'm going to be going this year, and this is going to be my first time going to Evo, which is crazy. Like, I've already started like saving up money or whatever to go, and then I gotta like buy my plane ticket. I'm gonna have to buy my plane ticket, rent a car, and buy the ticket for Evo. I gotta fucking do that. I gotta do that like soon so that I have it. But like, Evo Japan is next month. I'm going to regular Evo, which is in July. So
part of that strength, part of what's able to make this community so stable and so sturdy,
Cocaliso
is the fighting game community,
Cocaliso?
and not
What's up,
the
man?
Street Fighter community or the Mortal Kombat community or the Tekken community. You understand what I'm saying? The fact that at any given moment, if a game comes out and we just happen to not like it, then the people that don't like it can just play a different fighting game, and it's totally fine. Because any tournament that you go to is going to have like 8 different games at least.
He said 8 different games, bro. They're gonna have so many different games. They might have 8 main games, but then when you go to a tournament, when you go to like, I guess like maybe like your first tournament, you may not like roam the hallways and look for people to play. You might most likely stay in the ballroom and stuff. But usually at a tournament or at a major or whatever, wherever people are, like especially if it's at a hotel, there are constantly people in the rooms playing matches in random fighting games, like the old fighting games. There's just probably hundreds of fighting games at events that you can play. And even like nowadays with like online and stuff like that, even when a new fighting game comes out, people still be playing the old fighting game because everybody doesn't have the money to just drop on a brand new version of the game, right? But then like the new version of the game comes out, and then some people just don't care about the new version of the game. They're like, I'm going to keep playing the old version. I could probably turn on Tekken 7 right now and there still be people in there grinding Tekken 7, right? And they're like now they're like, yo, all of the people that all of the people that were playing Tekken 7 and were like Tekken God or whatever, and like that they were having a hard time like ranking up, all those people left to come to Tekken 8. So there's probably a bunch of people that are now, ranking up their Tekken 7 characters because they're like, oh, I can finally like play and rank up my Tekken 7 characters because all these other guys that I couldn't beat left and went to Tekken 8. So like there's still people playing that. There's still people playing Tekken. Probably there's still people probably playing like Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 10 is still like alive. You know what I'm saying? Like all these games are just always populated, which is the reason why I was like, yo, all fighting games from this point forward, from not even this point, but like even from a couple years back, all fighting games should be crossplay, period. Like it should not even be a question whether the next fighting game is going to be crossplay. If it's going to be on multiple platforms, it needs to be crossplay on all platforms. Whatever just needs to be crossplay. Crossplay and rollback are just two mandatory things for fighting games to succeed in this day. Like if you don't have rollback and you have crossplay, some people probably will play it, but all the people who like really care about getting better and playing the game probably won't care about the game, or they probably just not gonna play online, right? And then it's not gonna matter that it has crossplay. But if it has crossplay, if it doesn't have crossplay but it has rollback, people will still play the game. But the problem is that when the game starts to die down, when the game starts to like, peter out a little bit, and like people are not thinking about it anymore, or a newer version of the game comes out, or a new fighting game comes out that sucks everybody into it, like 2XKO, people the player bases on all the separate communities on Xbox, on PlayStation, on PC, they're all get smaller, right? And then those small tiny communities could have been one big community if there was crossplay. Without crossplay, you have the small communities waiting forever for matches, maybe not being able to get matches, and then some of those people will not want to wait that long. They'll drop off from the communities, and then there's only a couple of people left, and then like they don't want to fucking wait 6 years for a match, so then they drop off. But if you had crossplay, it's always going to be people to play. Like Tekken 8, Tekken 7 survived without crossplay very well on PlayStation and on PC, right? Tekken 8 is going to like never die. Like it's never going to die. The only time like people are going to continue to play this game even when Tekken 9 comes out. When Tekken 9 comes out, they're going to be hardcore Tekken 8 people playing this game, and they're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. You going for Tekken or Street Fighter 6? I'm most likely just going to go for I'll probably enter both. When I go to Evo, I'll probably enter Tekken and Street Fighter 6. Maybe enter Marvel, because like why not? You know what I mean? I'm going, but most likely I probably will play Tekken because that's the game I think I'll be playing the most, and that's the game I've been playing the most lately. So and I don't feel like I want to stop, but I'm probably going to take a break at some point and play some other stuff because I just want to play some other stuff and then come back to Tekken, keep grinding Tekken. I'll probably start to play with a friend of mine. A friend of mine, Oscar, I still have not played him in Tekken in a long time. And he's like battle ruler with Reina right now. He might be even higher than that. Maybe he might have made blue, but I have to play him. And then maybe like I don't know, after playing him in some long sets, maybe like talk to him about what do you think I should do? Because I mean he's played a lot more Tekken than I have in Tekken 7, so that's probably why he's like further in the ranks than me, because like he's more used to playing Tekken than I am. But yeah, does Mortal Kombat have crossplay now? I think Mortal Kombat has crossplay now. I think. Yo, Kakaliso, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. There could be Tekken 9, but a Street Fighter fan will still play Street Fighter 6. I mean, yeah. There like I was saying that earlier because I was like, some people aren't fighting game players. Some people are just the players of the game that they like. So like, yeah, like the Street Fighter thing. It was like, okay, well, Street Fighter 6 player, who just like Street Fighter, they're not gonna really care about the other games coming out. but somebody who plays fighting games because they just like fighting games, and they like all different types of fighting games, they're gonna play, a bunch of different type of fighting games or whatever new comes out. They're gonna play it.
Represented, right? When your community is based
Street
around
Fighter
a
3 on the
single
main
game,
stage,
you
these
run the
games don't
risk
die.
of
Oh yeah, the games don't die unless people don't play them, right? So when we say dead game usually just means there's not many people playing the game. Like you're not gonna anytime you have to go anytime you have to go to a Discord because people will be like, oh no, there's still people playing the game. You can go to this Discord, you can go to this forum, you can go to this place, right? And you can find people to play. That's a dead game. Like it's a dead game. It's not completely dead. Of course, there are still people to play. Like in Marvel 3, like I was a Marvel 3 player for like 8 years. I was never like somebody who like made it out of pools and stuff like that. Like for Marvel, like I played. I'm pretty good at Marvel, but I'm not like a top player or nothing, right? I can hold my own, but like the thing about that, like I stopped playing that game, but it's still like getting. It's like riding a bike, right? So like for me, like when I start playing that game again, I can remember all the stuff that I normally used to do by muscle memory, but I don't really get moving until I've been playing like tons of matches like for the entire day, and then like I start to bring back all the stuff that I used to be able to do, which is not a lot, right? And like a lot of the stuff is not even optimal that I used to do. But I went to like a Marvel 3 session with like a bunch of people from Seattle and like the Washington area. Um and I was playing them, and like everybody there was super good because they never stopped playing. Like they never stopped playing the game. So and then they were still people that are like picking up the game and starting to play it again, especially because of like Evo and stuff. So Street Fighter 3 being on the main stage now, I'm sure that there people are picking up and playing Street Fighter 3 and trying to learn the game, and probably are going to enter Street Fighter 3 as a main game. And that'll be very, very interesting to see because we want to see who is going to really take it. And like a lot of the old players are going to come back and play. Like Justin Wong is training for Marvel 3. Like I think he went to Japan to play not Marvel 3, Street Fighter 3. He went to Japan to play Street Fighter 3, I think. And then to practice and stuff like that. So hopefully I want to see Justin Wong up there in like top 8, top 3, you know what I'm saying? In Street Fighter 3. But then there's people who've been playing Street Fighter 3 forever. Like there are people who just never stop playing Street Fighter 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they just love the game so much, and then they have probably a group of people. They have like a bunch of people around them that play the game. So if you have a rival or you have somebody that takes the game as seriously as you take the game, and like but at there's a balance, because it's fun, but you don't want to take it too seriously because then it just becomes not fun anymore. But you and this person are always going at it, and y'all always playing, and y'all make each other better by continuing to play the game and stuff like that. So I think that's what that's what happens. So like we'll see if there are like some new ridiculous top players or some new tech that gets shown or whatever. Like I think that'll be interesting to watch for Street Fighter 3 in 2024. It's going to be nuts.
having a shitty patch or having a shitty meta for a time and just sort of being stuck with it and needing to sort of power through it.
20 people
Whereas,
at Black Ops 2
if
on
you're a
PC.
community based
That's
genre
sad,
like
yo.
we are, then you're able to just shift around and just stick to playing whatever new releases excites you the most. I do think, however, in modern times, the communities do face unique issues that are born of innovations within the genre. Mainly, the fact that rollback is so ubiquitous now, I think has made it really, really difficult to convince people to come out to local events anymore. And I think my
Mm, no, I don't agree with that. I mean, well, maybe some people, but I don't think that it's the it's hard to convince people to come out. Maybe the younger crowd, it's hard for them to convince them to come out because it's just they're like, "Oh, this is all we know." Maybe so. Maybe like the younger crowd because it's like, "Oh, this is all we know." And why do I need to go somewhere to play in a tournament, right? Because I could play online. There's tons of online tournaments to play. But like you don't know what you're missing until you go to a major event. Like I don't like playing online tournaments only because like the couple of times that I played in online tournaments, like when they were first getting started, it's just like annoying. It's like, oh, go into the Discord, sit here and wait in the thing, and just hope that you don't miss the person DMing you, or you're like, oh, should I DM the guy, or I gotta find my teammate, I gotta find my opponent in chat, and it was like, oh, hey, okay, let me DM this guy and get in there and play the match, and then you have like the one time I had this guy who was like, I think, what did he do? I think he reported something wrong, or he did something wrong, and then he was like, "Oh, just go ahead." I think he reported the score wrong, and he reported that I won or something like that. And uh and he was just like, "Whatever. It's whatever." And I was like, "Okay, you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." And then uh so I thought he wanted me to go on in the bracket since he reported the score wrong. So I played the next match in the bracket as if I won when I lost, and I was like, "That's weird." So then I had the thing, and the TOs in the stream were coming down on me at first because they thought that I was trying to like scumbag this guy out, and I was like, dude, I have the chat logs of him telling me that it was fine and he reported the thing wrong, and basically I was like, I thought he was telling me to play my next match, so I sent them the chat logs, and they were like, oh, and they realized what happened, and they were like, and I was like, okay. I was like, whatever, man. I was like, this whole online tournament thing is so drawing. Like I had a couple of bad experiences, which is probably why I don't like doing online tournaments. So I just don't really be like super anxious to hop into online tournaments, or else I would enter TNS and stuff like that. But I don't be feeling like it. I would much rather go to a tournament and then they go, hey, EyeonFGC, sit on station 8 and play XYZ man. And I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, you're XYZ man. Oh, all right. Hey man, what's up? Yeah, all right, good game. Good luck in the game. And then we sit down and we play our match. And then you report who freaking won the match to the bracket runner, and they write your thing down, and then you wait for your next match. Like, very easy. Like, also fighting games are hard in general. It's hard for people to get into them. It's not as hard for people to get into fighting games as you think. The only time it feels like it would be hard to get into a fighting game is when you already know how to play a fighting game. Like, you already understand what you need to be learning to play fighting games. So I think it feels more difficult for people that already know, and they're like, okay, well, I'm playing this. Like, for instance, I want to play Guilty Gear again a little bit, right? I kind of want to play Guilty Gear a little bit. I just bought all the characters for Guilty Gear, and I'm dreading fighting people on Guilty Gear again because I don't remember how to play the game, and I want to learn a new character. So I have to go start from basically from the bottom, but I'm sure that my account and stuff is like on the 10th floor or whatever, right? So I'm gonna have to go into whatever floor I have access to and lose a whole bunch until I get down to a floor where I can actually fight people and not get washed for free, right? So like it's dread, right? And it just feels more daunting because I know what I'm getting myself into. I think for newer players, they do see like what people can do in these games, but when you hop into a fighting game for like the first time and you're brand new, especially if the game is brand new, it's easier. If the game is brand new, then you're growing with everybody. So like as soon as Tekken 8 comes out, a bunch of new people flood into Tekken 8, and then they just start getting in there and they just start pressing buttons, right? That's what a lot of the people are doing right now. They're just in there, they're just pressing buttons. They don't know what's going on. They don't know neutral. They don't know frame data. They just pressing buttons. So I think it's pretty easy to get into them. It's just once you start to get to a point where you're like, okay, I want to actually get better. What do I need to do to get better? That's the part that is hard. Getting the game, starting the game, playing online, that part is easy. Pressing buttons, easy. Deciding that you want to get better and finding the road to do that is the part that's hard. It's even hard for me. That's why it's taking me so long to get to purple, because I suck. But but it is what it is.
Proposal. and I don't want to take credit for this. I did see somebody on Twitter talking about this, and I think it's an excellent idea. But I think we just have to reframe the way that we have traditionally done locals. Locals traditionally have been basically weekly tournaments, or however frequently you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, hey, people in this city, if you want to come out, we're going to be playing every Friday night at da da da's. Come out to da da da's. There's a $5 entry fee, and then there's a $5 bracket fee. We're going to play in a tournament. I hope you come out. And that is cool. I mean, it's a great, venue. But I think the major problem is the fact that as soon as you ask people to pay to enter a tournament, there are perceived stakes. Even if it's like $5 and there's like nothing really on the line, people will literally think to themselves, like, I don't want to drive across town and pay $5 to play in a bracket, lose twice, and then sit around for like.
They don't know. So I think that is not real. I don't think that's real. I think that is only for people who are deep in the fighting game scene, kind of, and know that they're not that good, and they're not confident in playing, and they just basically just want to win. They're not going to the tournament to experience the tournament and the people and play casuals, and because there's so many other things to do when you're at a tournament, if the tournament is run well. Like if the tournament is run well, then usually you'll be able to, if you go early, you can play people in casuals, you'll meet people, and then like you pay to play in the tournament, you play your matches. Even if you go 0-2, you still are you're in the room with all these people, and you're watching the rest of the matches go on. And sometimes the matches get really hype, especially when you get to like top 8, and like you end up rooting for somebody, and you're like, oh, I want to see this person win, and then like it's just really hype and a lot of energy in the room. Like, go for the tournament, go for the event. Like, if nothing else, $5 paid for the $5 for the event, great. Paying for $5 because then you're like, oh, I'm not gonna win, so why am I paying $5? Just go and pay the $5, and then like whatever. But like, I know sometimes, like with some people, especially with me, like since I'm working full time and I stream every day, I don't be wanting to really go to events. And it's not that I don't want to go to events. It's just I just be like, all right, do I really want to go to this event? Like, am I fully prepared to show out at this event and be like, at least, be respected, like, oh, that guy's pretty good. Like, even if I go 0-2, I just want to be like, oh, that guy's list is pretty good. And to make some type of mark, right? To go out to an event right now. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. I would just have to go. But I also have to travel, X amount of time, and I'm like, do I feel like doing that right now, or am I going to do that later, closer to when Evo? Like, maybe in the summer I'll start to go out, like maybe, like, I don't know, June, maybe like May, June, start going to stuff, if there's stuff that I can go to for Tekken around in like Seattle, possibly maybe the end of April. I don't know. We'll see what's going on in the next like 3 or 4 months. And maybe I'll go to a couple of things and play some stuff, and then maybe be able to meet some people, right? Maybe like be able to play some people online all the time and play them a lot. And then, cause like right now, y'all are my training partners, pretty much. Like the people that come to my stream every day and we play, like, y'all are my training partners. Y'all are all high ranked. Most of y'all are higher ranked than me. And I just fight y'all all the time. And then, I learn new stuff or whatever. And that's how I'm getting better at the game. So, and then, eventually I go to Evo. I'm gonna absorb a bunch of stuff at Evo. And when you go to Evo, you automatically level up. And then I'll probably come back and be a freaking Kishin with Alyssa. Hopefully that's what happens, just through osmosis.
Like the next hour and a half, 2 hours, just waiting for casuals to start. And then when casuals start, half the people leave because they just wanted to play in the tournament, right?
People don't think like that. What do you mean? For sure, at Worth, I don't really. People don't think that it took me a minute to switch from FPS to FGC. So you already have. So if you play a lot of FPS and you're really good at FPS, even though you don't, you came into fighting games wanting to be good at the fighting game. That is what's hard. Wanting to be good at the fighting game is hard. So like when you pick it up and you start getting washed online, yes, it's going to feel like it's hard because you know that you already know that you're not good, right? But you want to get good. For brand new people coming into the fighting game community, like some of those people, a lot of casual people, they already think they're good. Like there are people that already think they're good. Like think about when I don't know if you played like games when you were younger with like your friends around your neighborhood and stuff like that, where there was maybe either you or it was one of your friends who was the best of your like friend group, but y'all all sucked. Like that was like me and my friend group, right? Me and my friend group played a lot of Tekken 3, Tekken 5, right? And we my friend Chris always beat all of us. He was the best of our friend group. He watched us all the time. But he's not that good. Like he's not that good. We just were worse than him. So it's like some people think that they're good already and then like they get online and they just play and then like every win they take they're just like, yeah, I'm nice. And then like if they lose then the other person is trash, right? Like, like I can tell the difference between somebody who is actually pretty good that I played, and then like somebody who is not that good at all and that I lost to, right? Like, there's a difference. You can tell the difference once you've been playing fighting games for a while. It's like, okay, well, this guy is kind of random. He's just kind of doing things, and you're just running into stuff. It's like, all right, well, how do I stop him from doing what he's doing? And then you have people who are like legitimately good, and it's like, okay, well, his game plan is working out better than my game plan, and it's just like overriding what I'm doing. Like you can tell the difference. But there are a lot of people who cannot tell the difference between somebody who's good and somebody who's bad. They can't even tell that they're bad themselves. Like that was me. My first was Street Fighter 6. Took me 6 months to get to Masters, but loved every moment. It took you it I'm gonna say it only took you 6 months to get the master rank in Street Fighter 6, right? Coming from FPS and that was your first fighting game, Street Fighter 6. There are some people that will never get past gold. Or excuse me, they'll never you know what, I'll give them platinum in Street Fighter 6 because in Street Fighter 6 you can get I just never played it long enough to get to master, right? So you can get win streaks in Street Fighter 6. I think the when I played the beta of Street Fighter 6, I got placed in bronze. And I've played a lot of Street Fighter and I'm like, all right, I was playing Ryu, which I don't ever play Ryu. I just played him because there was no other character that I felt like playing at the time in the beta, and I was like, I don't feel like learning a new character in the beta, and I was like, I can play Ryu. Like, I can do crouch forward. I mean, crouch medium kick in the fireball. I can throw fireballs. I can DP. I get Ryu, the basic game plan, right? And I got placed in a bronze, and I was like, whatever, okay. And then I think I made it close to like gold or whatever before the beta was over, again in a couple of days or the weekend or whatever. And then when the game came out, I think I got placed in silver with Kimberly. I decided to play Kimberly, and then that was the first character I got to plat with. And then like I played another character. I played Dalsum after that, and I got to like plat 4, I think. And then I started a new character. What character did I play after that? I think I started playing Luke, and then I got to plat 4, plat 5 with Luke. And then I think I played. I think the next character I played after that. Oh, I was playing some Chun Li and I played Cammy, but I didn't play them in ranked. I only played them in casual. But I probably could have played them in ranked and still got the plat if I put in the time to play them, but I just didn't. Um, then what's the name came out? Then Rashid came out, and I intended to main Rashid, but I ended up not really like. I don't think I meshed with him that well, but I got to Diamond 1 with Rashid, and then I was doing okay with him, but I still didn't feel completely solid. Ed just came out. I'm at like plat 2 or plat 3 with Ed, but I didn't play with Ed that much. I haven't played Ed in a few weeks, I think. So like maybe like one or 2 weeks, one week and a half. something like that. But yeah, he replaced rookie. I mean, like it is what it is. I don't know if you set your thing to say that you were new to fighting games, because everybody I know set their thing to, we knew how to play fighting games already, and then we did our placements, and then I think maybe, I don't know, one, maybe like 4 out of the 10 or 5 out of the 10 usually, and then sometimes 6 out of the 10, and they placed me in like silver, so I was like whatever. So, and I ended up making it to plat with most of the characters, and then made it to diamond 1 with Rashid, and then I'm learning Ed on hitbox. So there's a lot of different things I got to learn for hitbox to before I can like be as good as I was in Street Fighter with hitbox, because I usually play on stick. So I just want to play Ed on hitbox, and then try to like, get to diamond. That would be my like first goal, get to diamond. Right now I'm at like plat 2, I think. Um but yeah.
So I feel like we have to reframe the way that we organize our weekly events to be like get-togethers, right? Because if it's just like a, wherever FGC social, then there's no pressure towards coming out. And I feel like people would be
We've had those. We've had those where every Friday we had a get together, and we would just run a tournament. We would just run a tournament. But I think actually he might be right though. Like, if I could choose, if I knew I could go to a place and there wasn't really a tournament running, like I didn't have to play in tournament, and like, because usually when the tournament is running, nobody is playing casuals because everybody's using all of the setups for tournament, right? So if they were to all be like get-togethers where the tournament was secondary, and it was like, if anybody wants to enter this tournament, we're gonna have a round robin tournament. Like, depending on how many people it is, y'all can have either multiple round robin tournaments so that the tournament can be short and y'all have separate people, separate tournaments or whatever running, and then that would finish quicker than if you were to run one full round robin tournament. Maybe, I don't know, because we did a round robin tournament for Marvel, and at this restaurant that the guy was running a little tournament at. Maybe it was like 2 weeks ago, and it was fun. It was just like, it took a lot longer than I expected, and I was like, I didn't expect to be there as long as I was, but I was like, most of the time not really playing any matches because I was waiting for my match. Uh, but yeah, like if we just ran like get-togethers where it was like, oh, sit down, play somebody 2 out of 3, and then you get up, let the next person play, and then everybody plays everybody, and it wasn't even like if you do a round robin tournament get-togethers, I think that's much better. Like, it starts like in the early afternoon, and it extends into the night. Even if maybe you don't finish the whole thing, maybe you continue the round robin tournament the next weekend or something like that, if everybody can't be there or something like that. Or y'all have like a month long round robin tournament type thing where it's like y'all come back every week for to get your points, or a ladder, doing a ladder like where everybody comes to play people to get ladder points. Like, that would be cool. Um, and you just play everybody, because like at that point it's like, well, I don't care about, that I'm not getting a lot of ladder points. I mean, some people might care, but I like probably wouldn't care like if I'm not getting a lot of ladder points. But if somebody else can't make it and you make it every week, then you might have more ladder points than somebody who's better than you, because you made it out to all the events to earn points. So that would be cool. I think I did. I don't remember. Hey, if you need help with hitbox shortcuts and stuff, let me know. I mean, not necessarily. I know like some of them, and I've been playing in Street Fighter, but there was one thing that is helping me out, which is I watched Brian S video the other day where he was talking about how Javits told him to do these supers and do these couple of different things uh jump, what is it, jump cancel, I forget, jump cancel stuff, where it's like he's using jump to cancel out the down and to get forward so that you can do DPs easier on both sides. And I was like, damn, that's smart. That's freaking smart. So instead of using the letting go to get neutral, like you just press the freaking jump button to get neutral, and it's more precise because you're pressing a button as an input rather than letting go of a button to get an input. And I think you probably can do that same thing with like Kazuya with wave dashing and Tekken or some shit like that.
Much more ready to come out, pay, a $10 venue fee, and then just be able to play casuals the entire night, interact with people,
Yeah.
there's a strong player there. Hey,
Yeah.
can you watch my replay? Yeah, no, I'll watch it. Get some advice, get some pointers, talk about controllers. I just installed these buttons. Why'd you do that? The response time, I think, is better. Or, I just like the way they feel. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll try that out. There's just a much more to gain and much less to lose when it is an environment without stakes, effectively. And this isn't to imply that you can't run tournaments. Obviously, I think tournaments are a really big appeal for us. But I just think that they shouldn't be the selling point. It shouldn't be like, come out to our weekly tournament every Friday. It should be like, come out to the social. We'll have a little bracket there, but we'll have setups on the side if you want to just hang out and play, have some drinks.
Yes, I agree with you, man. I
Twitch,
agree with you, bro.
Why are fighting game streams less viewed than MOBA streams, strategy game streams, whatever? The reason is because there are no stakes, effectively, is the way to put it. So the most successful categories on Twitch are categories that have, how do I phrase this? Basically, they have like contained stories that somebody can sit there and watch, right? So, for example, a League of Legends game is going to last about 40 minutes, and it has a start. Some things can happen. Those things influence the middle. Some more things happen, and then those things draw to a conclusion towards the end. The fact that it's 40 minutes and could be broken out into these different segments allows an audience member to get invested in whatever the quote-unquote story of this match is, and to sit around and wait to get some sort of emotional payoff off of it, right? A fighting game, just a quick match, is so short that there is no time to get emotionally invested. And the structure of having individual rounds means that there isn't a ton of influence from what's happened early on in the match that influences later on in the match, especially not to somebody who is not so ingrained into the fighting game that they can observe the sort of adaptations that players are making. And so it makes it very, very difficult for somebody who is not super engaged and super well integrated into that community to be able to get any kind of emotional payout from the stream itself. And so
the biggest emotion is when you know the players.
To do is we would need to,
if you know at least one of the players in the match, then
elongate the emotional payoff and offer some.
But if you don't know either one of the players, then it might not matter.
Stream might be something like.
But the commentators, the commentators can help with that though. Like if the commentators are talking about the players and explaining their background and stuff like that as the match is about to start. The commentators can help get people emotionally invested in the matches. But I think that it works better. It works better in top 8. But like, let's say for instance, I don't know, like some player comes back from being from taking a hiatus from the fighting game community, and then they come back and they're in pools and they're like, yeah, this person used to play such and such in this game and they were really good. We haven't seen them in a really long time. They're just coming back. We're gonna see if they can still hang with the best of them. Blah 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 blah. Right, and then you see them and they make it out. They make it out top 32, right? And they're like, okay, this person made it out. They made it out winner side. And then like, I don't know, maybe they get sent to losers in the next couple of matches. And then they're like, okay, this person's in losers. They're really trying to fight their way out. They got a long way to go. They got to fight this person, and this person. And then you kind of get invested like, oh, let me see if this person that came back from, like sometimes it could catch some people if they're watching it. And if you're explaining and helping them understand what they're going through as they're going through the bracket, that could help. But like, you can't do it for every single player, everybody, because every player doesn't have like a story, and everybody doesn't know every player. But you're only gonna care. You're gonna care most about the people you know in the matches. So like if my friend is playing in a match, or if it don't even have to be a friend of mine, right? It could be just somebody that I actually know, right? In real life, that like, oh, this person is from Philadelphia. Like I know this person because there's a couple of people, or there's a bunch of people that are from Philly that I never really met before that are in the FGC, right? And some of them are really good players. And if I see them and I recognize them on stream, I'm rooting for them because I know them from Philadelphia, right? Um, just like small stuff like that, helps get the emotions going. But that's not for literally everybody. What he's talking about is like storylines happening within the one match. Like sometimes you could have a storyline happening within the one match, but like he said, most people are not going to be able to um uh like see the adaptation that's going on within the match. But if the commentators are talking about the match and they're explaining the adaptation that people are making, that could also help.
I'm gonna play 20 matches. For every match I lose,
like Sajam's tournament. Yeah, Sajam's tournament was great, dude. The best storyline, the best storyline of all the storylines that had to do with Tekken so far was Afro Senju. Afro Senju storyline. He did a really good job with that. Like I don't even know if he meant for it to be that way, but that's what happened. Like I don't really watch Afro Senju like that. But because he started playing Tekken 8 and he was brand new and he wasn't good and he played against RDC and then lost. And I was rooting for him against RDC because I was like, RDC bro probably gonna be trash, dog. Don't let them beat you. And then they beat him and I was like, damn, they ain't never gonna stop talking shit, dog. And then and I was like, that's crazy. And then he started training. He started like, playing a lot more. He was still playing the game. He was like enjoying the game. And then I would see his thumbnails. He was like going through it. He was like, oh, I should uninstall the game. This game is hard. And then like, he was like, oh, this game, I'm so good. Like he went through all these ups and downs with the videos that he was putting out himself. And then he was like in the tournament for Sajam's like Tekken Slam thing or whatever. Right. And I was like, yo. And then he started getting a lot better once they had like coaches and stuff like that. He started getting a lot better. He started playing Dragunov and he stuck with it. And then he went back to play RDC and washed them. I was like, this was the greatest. This was the greatest thing ever. Like it was so great watching that because like I was following it kind of every day. I didn't even watch all his videos, but his thumbnails were literally telling the story of what was happening in that match. And then like I watched a couple of the videos, and one of the videos he was playing against this laggy, I forget what character it was, but they were lagging super hard. And he was like, oh, why do I have to do this? And he ended up winning that match. And I was like, let's go. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. But it was so fun to watch him like get good at that game.
So if somebody's here and they watch me lose 20 matches in a row, that's 200 push-ups.
For the first time because it's
that's
Sajam's
enough
thing. Some of these people are continue to playing right now.
I think
like a lot of big streamers and stuff are continuing to play the game, which is crazy.
Money on stakes like this, or
but that's in depth. I believe
just
he's talking about the match itself.
To prolong
that doesn't give you
sort
the
of
time.
Emotional payoff.
I mean, but like I said, commentators can still help, but it's still much easier to. I mean, not really. For me, it's not even much easier. It's not much easier for me to follow League of Legends. I can't really follow League of Legends. Like, maybe I play League of Legends, like, and I understand like what League of Legends is supposed to be, but like I just can't watch League of Legends. I can't watch. I even tried to watch like Valorant tournaments when I was playing Valorant a lot, and it's just, to me, it's hard to watch because I'm used to watching tournaments where everything is on the screen at one time. There's not like a bunch of other people that you can't see what's going on the screen because they switch between points of views or whatever in team games. But it's just so much easier to for me, in my opinion, it's just easier to understand or see what's going on in a fighting game on the screen, because people will say that like, oh, people don't understand what's going on with like moves that are safe and unsafe and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, everybody's not going to understand everything, but you can see the health bar at the top of the screen, the characters next to that health bar, and you can see who has more health and who has more rounds. Who, like, I mean, like, you don't even have to care about the, like, even if they don't care about the heat, everybody knows what the health bar is. Everybody knows what the round counter is. And everybody can match the portrait, the character portrait next to the health bar with the players who are playing. So they know what character is winning and which character is losing, right? Like, I feel like if I put my wife in front of the screen and I gave her a screenshot and I was like, which one of these characters is winning the game? I feel like she would be able to point at the right one. Maybe she would think it was a trick question and not answer it immediately because whatever. But like, if you were just like, oh, who's winning? You know, like if I was in the kitchen and I was like, hey, Pam, who's winning? She will be able to tell me who was winning. But if I was like, hey, which team is winning in League of Legends? Who's winning? I don't even know who's winning. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
back in the day to tune in and watch majors, to watch even locals and what have you, and that we didn't need to do all of this extra like hard work to get people engaged. And like, to a degree, they're kind of right. Earlier on, at least like in 9, when I was starting to get integrated with the fighting game community, there was a lot of this kind of like almost like wrestling style heel versus babyface mentality going on. There's these guys and they're villains. They talk a lot of shit. And there's these guys and they're humble. Those are the good guys. We want the humble guys to beat the villains, right?
yes.
The problem with this,
Want Afro sends you to beat
yes,
RDC.
it's pretty entertaining if we like forget that these are people that are all living their life somewhere. But like, an important element of professional wrestling is consent. We're all out there performing with each other, not against each other. And we all, to some degree, have an understanding of what's going to be said, what spots we're going to go through. And it's all, you know, the heel is on the side of the babyface. The point of that character is to get the babyface over. So when we try to do those, and it's just John and Larry, John is just being a dickhead to Larry. Larry hasn't consented to this at all. Like, it's just somebody who's being really nasty to him. And that's just not...
John
like,
is just being a dickhead to
that
Larry.
we can condone and allow to exist. So, ironically, I think the idea isn't to like take all of the fun and flair and trash talk out of the fighting game community, because I mean, I enjoyed watching that shit too. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But we have to make it less like professional wrestling and make it more like professional wrestling, where if we're gonna talk shit, we should at least like have a conversation backstage first. We're like both on board, right? We both...
No. I don't think that works for fighting games. I don't think that works for fighting games because in fighting games, people have like real fighting game beef. Like, not like they really hate this person. I mean, in some cases they do dislike the person and it's known, but like in some cases, like people have like real fighting game beef where it's like, I want to beat this person, or it's this person's rival, or it's the person that they always lose to in every tournament, but this tournament is different because they've made it to top 8, but they always lose to this person in pools or something like that. Like, where they have like they have some type of like, there's some type of understanding of like there's a rivalry here, right? Like a real rivalry. In wrestling, we all know that's fake. Like, we all know all of it is scripted. Like, it's all scripted. We don't want scripted in the fighting game community. Like, that's just not it, because it's not we know if it's scripted, we know it's not real. No one cares. And this is like, I guess maybe it would be better for the people outside of the fighting game community looking in to be like, oh, this is interesting to watch. That guy just said this to this other guy. But we're like, he would have never said that. We know who this is. He would have never said that. This would have never gone down like this. Why are they acting this way? Just play the match, right? Like, at that point, it's just like, just play the game. Like, stop with this acting, right? Leave that to the wrestling federation. Like, leave that to wrestling. We know that's not real, but real fighting game beef is way more interesting to watch than fake fighting game beef. So like, even though like we don't want the super toxic fighting game beef, but having some type of rivalry between people is more interesting to watch than having like some scripted thing that we're like, oh, we're backstage. We're gonna act like we're mad at each other. We're gonna act like, we're talking shit to each other. So I'm gonna say some things, but don't take them too personal. You know what I mean? Like we don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
Know what's being
The
said,
outcome isn't
and we can
scripted,
like
but
have
the
fun
the
with it
range
rather
of
than just be
trash talk
fucking
could
mean to
be
one another.
like battle rap or something. But the battle rap is the entertaining part. Like it's entertaining to hear what's going to come out of the battle rapper's mouth, because like we want to hear if the other person says something more interesting. But in fighting games, we don't care about what they talking about. We care about what's on the screen. If we know that the trash talk is scripted or held back or tampered with in any way, it's not going to feel genuine. The whole point is that if the more interesting things to watch are the genuine rivalries. Like, and it doesn't have to be some like super toxic rivalry where this person literally hates this other person, right? Like in the case of like Wolf Crone and K Brad. Wolf Crone and K Brad was a toxic rivalry, right? Where it was like he really didn't like him. Like K Brad really don't like Wolf Crone. Wolf Crone really don't like K Brad. So when they played in tournament, it was always that like them button heads, and they was going to talk shit to each other depending on who won. Wolf Chrome was just bad at talking shit. Like he just was terrible at talking shit. But when K Brad beat Wolf Chrome, he was always in his face. Like we knew what was going to happen when one of these dudes won, and it was that, and you're glued to the edge of your seat trying to see who's going to win, and then the match is super like intense because of it, because it's going to be a ridiculous outcome. But if we knew that they were like super buddy friends, and then they acted like they were mad at each other at the end of the match, it would be like, all right, I guess maybe it would be funny. Like it would be funny, it'd be interesting, but the match wouldn't have the same type of intensity that it would knowing that these two people don't like each other, right? But it doesn't have to be that two people don't like each other. It could just be a rivalry between like the like a teammates. It could be a rivalry between teammates. It could be what else could it be? Like I don't know, between the reigning champion of Capcom Cup and one of the other Capcom Cup champions, or when Justin Wong and Daigo meet in a bracket or something like that, where it's like some type of backstory is there. It makes it interesting to watch, right? Or if, say for instance, this person is always beating this person, and then the person that's always winning, their character gets heavily nerfed, but they're still playing the character, and it's like, oh, is he going to be able to beat this person still with his heavily nerfed character? Like there's some type of storyline there, right? Like where it's like there's something interesting about like the match, that there's some outside influence that makes it interesting to watch.
Right? I think that there's a lot of room
But
for
genuine
making
fights could break out. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that genuine fights will break out anymore. Like I've been in FGC and going to events and stuff for the past like 14 years. Like I haven't gone to like events like maybe in the past like year or so, but like for the greater part of 14 years, I've been going to majors and stuff like that, and there have been tons and tons of stuff where there's trash talk about the game, but as long as the trash talk stays within the game, it's fine. Like no one ever fights like because of something about the game. That was in the old days, like in the old days back in the day before I was ever in the FGC, when they had the old FGC, Marvel 2 FGC. That's when fights used to break out. Back when Street Fighter 2, where you couldn't tech grabs or something like that, and people would grab all the time. And they're like, "Yo, you grab me again, I'm gonna just hit you." Like stuff like that would happen. We don't want that to happen, right? But that stuff's not gonna happen. Most of the trash talk nowadays stays within the game. Even if two people don't like each other, all the trash talk still stays within the game. So it's like they'll be like, "Oh, you're trash. You're carried by this character." Like you can have so many things, or so many people saying so much wild stuff about people, and in the game, where it's like, oh, you're garbage at this game, but it's usually not stuff that's outside of the game. When it starts to leave the game, that's when it's a problem. When you start talking about people's family, or you start talking about people's livelihood, or how much money they got, or they broke, they can't afford it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when it starts leaving the game, it's like, all right, now you're just, you're mad. Like, keep it in the game. Like, that's whack. But like when somebody is like, oh, you're carried by Ken, like you're trash without Ken, and if Ken gets nerfed, you'll never win again. You'll never beat me again. And then Ken gets super nerfed or something like that, and then these two people meet in bracket, and then it's like, well, let's see what happens now that your character can't do X, Y, and Z anymore, right? And then like they play this match, and then the match is super close, and you're just like, yo, who's gonna win this? And the dude, and the Ken pulls it out, and it's like, damn, you talked all that shit about me being carried by Ken, and he got nerfed, and you still couldn't beat me, right? Like that type of thing. That's what's interesting to watch. Like that's this type of stuff where it's like, oh, he said he was trash. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exciting and engaging content, and for highlighting the spirit and the fun that we can have as a fighting game community.
Or MK3 spamming moves
requires a lot of intention and a lot of attention to detail and a lot of communication.
Something crazy.
To
not really
above board.
Also, on Eddie trailer,
I think a lot of people just
we'll talk about it after this.
And I think so long as we're in this mentality of, I'm just gonna hop on and I'm gonna stream ranked matches.
You got Kuma to Fujin
again, and then if people
shit,
don't show
bro.
up, I'm gonna complain about it. I think it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be nigh impossible to actually like get more eyes onto our community like that. So that's how I feel about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll.
Man, I'll let you know what I think in this whole entire like long video. I'll probably chop this out of my stream and put it on YouTube. But me talking, I'll put it in the podcast section because I've probably been talking for like an hour.